This episode will be all about the tokenization of IP rights, and I'll have a guest. Esen Esener will join us and talk about herself and her ideas on the tokenization of IP rights. Have fun.
Welcome to The Blockchain Lawyer, a podcast on technology and law. Dennis Hilleman is an accomplished lawyer with over 13 years of experience and a passion for creating a better future through blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, and other disruptive innovations. All statements expressed in this podcast are the opinions of the host and his guests only and are in no way legal or financial advice. And now, here is your host, Dennis.
Hi everyone and welcome to episode 24 of A Blockchain Lawyer. And today I'm going to have my first guest on the show. Her name is Esen Esener and we did an interview over Zoom on her views on IP tokenization. She wrote really good Medium articles on that and I hope you'll enjoy it. And yeah, whenever you want to be an interview partner and have some great ideas on blockchain and law, let me know and you can be a guest just like Esen. Have fun. All right. Hello, Esen.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi. Cool to have you on the Blockchain Lawyer. Thanks you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
And how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing very good. You know, it's the busy holiday season, so a lot of stuff going on, but I guess that's the same for everyone, right?
Yeah. Have you seen my advent calendar for blockchain?
Yes, I've seen it, and so we're already in the topic. Tell us a little bit. Tell our listeners a little bit about it.
Okay, so for this particular year, I wanted to do something special for my connections on LinkedIn, also for my blog readers, and I created an advent calendar for only blockchain, but it includes more legal topics than technical topics because my background is legal. So I included some podcasts that I like to listen to, which includes yours as well.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And some other articles about token economics, research on data protection and blockchain, some news from Liechtenstein, for example. They had a new legislation this year for blockchain, also the legislation of Wyoming. So I'm just giving kind of little summary of 2019 for blockchain. So I think it would be useful if you would like to follow and at least revise this year in terms of blockchain.
I think it's a really cute idea and probably very helpful for everyone interested in legal topics. Where can the listeners find your advent calendar?
I have a blog on medium.com. So the link is medium.com/@Esen Esener. It's my name and surname written all together. And then on my last post is about my advent calendar. So they can just check it from there.
Yeah, so we expect everyone to follow Esen Esener on Medium from now on, as I do. And so very good. We had a start with that, and I like that idea. So you already told us a little about yourself, but please, would you share your background? Because I think it's a really interesting story.
Okay, so I'm a Turkish lawyer, and just 2 or 3 years ago, actually, I decided to get specialized in IT law. And this is why I came to Germany for my master's studies, then went to Norway and completed my master's studies in IT law. During the studies, I heard something which is called smart contracts, and it sounded really interesting to me. And I always liked contract law classes during my bachelor years, so I was like, this idea is interesting and I would like to explore it. And I chose it as a topic for my master thesis, and I analyze smart contracts from the perspective of European contract law principles, which are also called Lando principles. This is actually an attempt of the European Union to harmonize contract law. And I chose that legal text because first I was doing my studies in Europe, and secondly, this compilation of contract law was also including the contract law principles from France, from Germany, also from the UK. So I didn't want to also exclude the common law system. And in the thesis also, I gave some examples from Swiss law because especially Turkish civil law is heavily based on civil law. This is why I also use that. And I really like the topic. This is how I started to get more into the blockchain space and started to discover the space more and more. And the more I read about it, the more I liked. And then I completed the studies. And since January, I changed my perspective a bit. I started to learn about finance law as well, in Germany especially. And now my legal scope on blockchain law is getting expanded.
Oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. What made you leave Turkey for Norway? I mean, that's a huge step, isn't it, from Turkey to Norway?
It's actually like first from Turkey to Germany, then from Germany to Norway.
Okay.
Yeah,
How come? May do you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, this was because of my master studies. So I chose the master program, which is called ULISP, so European Union. I don't remember the exact name, but it's ULISP, and it's offered by Leibniz University in Hanover, in Germany.
Yeah.
And program requires students to spend their second semester in another partner university. And University of Oslo was one of them. And the specialty about Norway is that if you if you choose to go to Norway, then you will entitled to get another master's degree in a year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to go to Norway to get extra certificates, but at the same time, the institute in Norway is I think is the second center for computer law in the world. So I really wanted to also learn, benefit from their accumulation of knowledge.
Wow. And so tell us a little about the program. Like, are they really that advanced? I don't think there's actually such a good program here in Germany, from my understanding.
I mean, this program, ULISP, it's quite good. I mean, but it could be much more diverse, of course. What I saw, at least from my year, is that I followed the course. I mean, the studies in 2018. So the 2018 was a special year for IT law because GDPR would get into force. So our courses, at least in the first semester, was heavy in content of GDPR and data protection. But in Norway, I could also learn about cybersecurity, e-commerce, and again, data protection, but the percentage of data protection was less. So I think it's a good combination. But in other universities, partner universities, I know that some of my friends, they went to Queen Mary University in London. Some of them went to the University of Thessaloniki. So they had different types of courses there. So I think it's up to you and what you would like to specialize on. And with your choices, according to your needs and your vision for your future, you can choose one of the partner universities.
Cool. And now you're back in Berlin, from my understanding?
Yeah, from Oslo, I went back to Hanover to finish my master's studies. Then since January, I'm based in Berlin.
And for everyone listening to this, I met Esen for the first time in person on November 26th at the blockchain and privacy event that was organized by Jörn Appgood. And I was like, I knew quite a few people there, and I was like wondering, okay, should I introduce her to them? But she already knew quite everybody there, and so she probably could have introduced me to people. How did that come?
I'm just an extrovert person. I think this is how. I mean, it's so interesting. Like there were some other people who asked me like, how do you know this person? How do you know that person? It's just, I don't know. It became my second nature right now. Like, and even a friend of mine, he's not a lawyer, but he's an engineer, and he told me that, oh yeah, yesterday I met a lawyer in this particular event. Okay, what's her name or his name? And he told me the name. I was like, okay, I know her. Like, and he is a business partner of this person, and they're doing this and this. So I think that it's a bit crazy for many people that I know a lot of people in this space.
No, it's just like nobody probably expect that at first glance that you just like know so many people because it's just not common to know so many people right away. I mean, from my understanding that you're not so long in Berlin yet and already you're connected so many, that's super impressive to me.
No, thank you. But I also use the power of internet. So I also make connections on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and if I find an opportunity to meet them in person, I meet them in person. This is actually how it happened with you too. Like we were connected on LinkedIn at first. Then I learned that you were coming for that particular event and we met there.
Yeah, that's very true. Like you're so right. The power of internet sounds good. Like, I mean, it's so easy to connect. But I think most people on the internet, they just like throw out their own content and don't really care about the content of others. And therefore, they don't connect actually much with people. Of course, there's quite a few people really cool in connecting. Mm-hmm. But like so many people are just like throwing out the content and then like I don't know, they just wonder why nobody cares because everybody's just throwing out the content. And to me, it seems like you're totally different. You have a totally different approach there by connecting with people, by doing stuff like the advent calendar that shows, that highlights the content of others. So that's a good way.
Oh, thank you. I think it's also how the blockchain ecosystem is different than other ecosystems, because whenever I attend to a blockchain event, whether it's legal or technical, I just feel a sense of community there. So like, I don't know, I haven't seen or experienced such a community feeling in other environments, so to say. So this is why I also care about the community and other people in the space and try to give value.
I totally agree. The community feeling is quite awesome, like because it's a new technology, and it feels at times that you're like a revolutionary thinker in this community, that nobody outside under this community really understands what you're fighting for. So I guess the community connection is really strong because you meet people who care about blockchain, the whole idea about blockchain as well. And then you connect, when you have a common ground to connect quite easily. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So we already know that you like the community about blockchain. What else do you like about blockchain?
I think it's the most useful tool to make current functionalities effective, I would say. Like, what do I mean by that? I mean that blockchain gives us some tools to improve some processes which we are struggling with right now. Like it might be in terms of like open finance, for example, the concept of open finance. And if you think about Bitcoin technologies, that everyone can get a wallet, everyone can get Bitcoin as long as they have money, of course, and they can actually transfer P2P, right? Like to another person without middleman. So I think it removes some inefficiencies in the environment, and this is why I find blockchain technology pretty interesting and fascinating. Also, in terms of legal procedures for contracts, for example, I mean, I don't think that smart contracts can be used as a contract automation tool, like other legal tech softwares, but I think it can be used to improve the steps between the transactions. So this is why it's also it's also a useful tool for us. So this is another thing that I like about blockchain.
I totally agree. And of course, we could talk about the advantages of blockchain for a long time. But what I wanted to talk about with you today, except for your quite impressive CV so far, is that you wrote articles on Medium that I quite like about the tokenization of IP rights. And I would really love to talk about you with that. And you did a series of 3 articles, and the first one is starting with the basics on IP right. Would you like to share a few things about IP rights from your point of view? What are they? I mean, you don't need to read us the Medium article. Just give a general summary before we then head into the blockchain technology.
Mm-hmm, sure. I mean, this idea of blog post series actually came from another meeting during Berlin Blockchain Week. I met a CEO of a Swiss-based company, and when I asked him his struggles, his legal challenges, that at that time, he told me that they're now trying to find a solution about how to tokenize IP rights to create more liquidity for these assets. And this challenge was interesting to me, and I wanted to research it and delve into it. So this is how I started to write about this tokenization of IP rights. And the first one, as you said, it starts with a small introduction to IP rights, because first of all, I didn't want to bore my with legal details about IP rights. So I just gave a general introduction of IP rights. So in terms of intellectual property rights, I mean, IP stands for intellectual property rights, but sometimes it stands for industrial property rights. But I think the general title that we use is intellectual property rights, and it has some divisions. So the first division is copyright. So when, for example, you are producing this podcast right now, so it's actually protected under copyright. Or when you write a book or blog post, these are all protected under copyright law.
Yeah,
but on the other hand, we have industrial property rights, which are the major ones actually are patents, design, and trademarks. There are also utility models, but utility models are not in every jurisdiction, I believe. So I didn't want to focus on that in my blog post. So basically, in my introduction, I wrote about the differences between trademarks, patents, and design. So what they protect. So trademarks protect distinctive signs of a product or a service, whereas patents protect technical innovations and processes. And designs protect industrial designs. And these 3 of them, the 3 rights should be, actually you don't need to register those rights in order to use it.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to have a monopoly over your innovation, you have to register it. So you have to apply for trademark or patent or design to the registry or to the patent office of your jurisdiction to ban third parties to use your innovations or your distinctive signs or industrial designs.
Yeah, very true. And I think it's a topic that's super important. Of course, many businesses know about that topic, but I'm working a lot with research institutions and higher education institutions, of course, universities. And at times, we're really not so much aware of what they have to do. So basically, regardless of blockchain, the knowledge about IP rights, how to protect them, and what to do with them is very important, especially since there's a new law in Germany. It's called the Geschäftsgeheimnisgesetz, the business secrets law. And to gain protection over your business secrets, you must take measures to protect them. And so it's very right that you highlight that you must do something to protect them, to use them fully. But okay, so that's a topic of interest to you. And then you looked into the tokenization of patents and IP rights. Would you like to share your insights about that with us?
Sure. The reason why I was so focused on patents was that that particular company is active in drug development industry. So in this, pharma industry, patents are used more than, I don't know, any other intellectual property rights. So this is why I stayed focused on patents. And the intellectual property rights, even though we have some international agreements, for example, for patents, we have Patent Cooperation Treaty. And for the European Union, or for the European continent, I must say, because it includes other member states which are not EU states, it is called European Patent Convention, for example. Again, on international level, for trademarks, we have Madrid Agreement concerning the international registration of marks. Also, a protocol relating to the Madrid Agreement. And in the European Union, there is a regulation on European Union trademarks and designs. So we have, since every jurisdiction has its own trademark and patent law, industrial property rights law or intellectual property rights law, there are some attempts of harmonization of the processes on the international level. So this is why it causes a lot of difficulties to protect these rights on an international level, because once you protect that right in a particular jurisdiction, it's only protected there. But there should be other mechanisms that you can use to protect your innovations, or let's say your rights in another jurisdiction. So these kind of treaties, they actually make it possible for you to protect your rights in other jurisdictions as well. In some cases, it gives you a right of priority, which means that when you apply for a patent, for example, through Patent Cooperation Treaty, and if there is someone else who applies for the same patent, then you can always object that person saying that I applied it first and I have a right of priority. So these treaties give some useful tools to make the protection much more efficient. But still, especially for patents, if you think about the application phase, first of all, you need to discover if your innovation is patentable. And it may not be patentable in every case. And this patentability criteria also depends on the jurisdiction. Maybe you can have a patent in Germany, but maybe you cannot have this patent right for the same innovation in Canada. You don't know it.
Okay.
So there is this harmonization of the rules. So as an applicant, you need to first know it. And secondly, you need to know which jurisdiction you would like to protect this patent. And then according to that, you need to check the forms of the related patent office, and you need to find out the form that you need to fill out. This also requires a know-how, because there are some additional criteria or conditions that you need to meet. For example, you need to know how to draw your innovations in a very technical way. So you just need to get additional somehow support from a patent attorney, for example. So once you discover that your innovation is patentable and you fill out the forms, then you need to pay for the application fees. So all these three things are actually already time consuming and not very cost efficient, because if you don't have experience, then you probably, as said, collaborate with a patent attorney, which means that you're going to pay for that attorney as well.
Yeah, and I know patent attorneys may take a lot of money. Take a lot, like, because there are not so many of them that are so specialized. From my understanding, what I witnessed is in my professional career so far, they're pretty high paid lawyers.
Yeah, so this is one of the obstacles that we need to overcome. I mean, if you have a startup, then you have to think twice to apply for a patent or not. And once you applied for it, then there is a procedure of waiting for the patent, and this also includes a period of where the patent office actually publishes your your application, so that if any applicant, if any other company or any right holder has an objection to your application, then they can object your application. So, and this also extended the period of time to have to be granted a patent. I mean, if you face with an objection, then of course you need to either take down your application or you need to change it. So there are some uncertainties in that, but in the best case scenario, if there is no objection, you wait almost like 18 months, I think. In many jurisdictions, this is 18 months. And then you wait and you grant a patent, but then this patent is only yours for 20 years. So after 20 years, you cannot say anyone to stop using your innovation, basically.
Yeah, okay, I understand. I mean, 18 months is a pretty long time for a startup if they can't do anything with it, right?
Exactly. I mean, because as far as I know, and from my own experiences, that startups want to use their innovation as soon as possible to monetize it, because they need to. They have limited budget. Also, they most of them they require, or they're interested in getting investment, so they need to secure it as soon as possible. And 18 months is such a long time.
Okay, so I understand we have a long waiting time. We have a complex procedure. We have different legal rules applicable considering which country you want to go to, and it costs a lot of money, and it's a time of high uncertainty. So basically, what do you think? How could blockchain now play into this?
I mean, I also thought about patent tokenization. I think it's technically it is doable. Like, you can probably create a patent-based token, but then I thought, okay, there are some challenges in this. First thing is that even though, in patents and trademarks, any rights which are dependent on the registry, when you transfer those rights to someone else, when you assign them to another party, you have to go back to the registry again and make the necessary application to let the registry know that you have assigned those rights.
Yeah, makes sense.
So in patent tokenization, okay, maybe you would like to assign those rights to sell the token to someone else, and the transaction can happen on the blockchain right away, for sure. But then, as long as you don't go to that registry, to the relevant registry, and say that I assigned this patent to that person or to that company, that transaction is valid. So this is the first challenge that I've seen about patent tokenization. And the second challenge is that, depending on the software or the web application or the platform, it's not always possible that the other party of the transaction.
Very true. Yeah.
You need to know that identity to go to the registry and make the assignment of the rights. So this is the second challenge. And the other challenge I thought is that since patents are valid for 20 years, there might be some token on the exchanges that you would like to actually buy, but what if that patent is very close to the expiration? How are you going to deal with it?
Yeah, very true. So basically, from what I understand, is that you're very doubtful that patent tokenization, at least with the current legal rules on paid patents, it seems that patent tokenization is not a very, very big use case for blockchain. Is that right?
I find it very difficult to tokenize patents on the blockchain right now.
Okay, that's fine. Do you know if any startups are still looking into it, though?
I know that one startup, I mean, the whose CEO I talk with, but other than that, but they have a different approach on that actually, because in my research, since my background is IP and IT law, I tried to solve or analyze the situation from my own perspective, but a lawyer with a finance law background would solve it in a different way, I think. And their approach again is different than mine. I mean, I think what they're thinking of is to kind of create a special purpose vehicle and somehow make some arrangements through it.
Yeah, but I like it that you, Eshan, that you're very honest about that, because there's a lot of startups, or at least there have been in the past year, who've claimed that you could just basically do everything on the blockchain, that blockchain would make sense in anything. Mm-hmm. And while I think that this like hype is over now, I still see quite a few startup and business ideas dealing with blockchain or saying you need to put it on the blockchain where things don't make sense at all. And from what you described now here in a very, very understandable way, it seems to me that patent tokenization is not a very good use case for blockchain. But from what I learned from your third article on Medium, it could be different when it's close to like business secrets as such, right?
Yeah, this is the conclusion that I ended up at the end of my research, is that, okay, patents don't seem to be the right tool for tokenization, then how can we achieve the liquidation of these assets? And the thing that I thought as a solution is tokenization of trade secrets. Because trade secrets, first of all, I mean, let's define trade secrets first, so that everyone can have an idea about it. So the trade secret is actually a valuable piece of information for an enterprise, and it needs to be treated as confidential, and it should give the enterprise a competitive advantage. And if you like to see it from the perspective of an EU legislation, the EU directive on trade secrets says that trade secrets should not be generally known for people and should not be readily accessible to the people who are dealing with the same tasks or business.
Yeah,
it should have a commercial value because it is a secret, and some reasonable measures should be taken by the owner of the trade secret. So trade secrets are, this is why they are so important, and they give a competitive advantage to a company asset, and they're worthy of being taken some measures, I mean, to be protected, and to be protected to give the enterprise this advantage. So the reason why I thought about trade secrets is that when you have an innovation that you would like to keep, and when you cannot get a patent for that innovation, what can you do about it? I think the only solution is to treat that innovation as a trade secret, so that it can stay with you, it can still give you a competitive advantage, and maybe you can also monetize it if you at the end of the financial assessments that you've done. So the trade secrets, this is why I started to also research about trade secrets, and I think that they have some advantages over patents, because first of all, you don't need any registration to use your trade secrets. I mean, you don't need to go to any patent or trademark office for that.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is also and this also brings that there is no registration costs. I mean, you don't need to spend money for registration again. So there is less bureaucracy and more cost efficient than patents. And to transfer a trade secret, again, you don't need to go to the registry, so you don't have this complex bureaucracy. And so you can actually design this transfer of trade secrets on a contractual level. So to me, it's much more easier compared to patents. And in patent application, when you apply, you need to disclose the innovation fully to get this patent. But in secrets, you don't actually need to disclosure. And on the other hand, if you disclose it, you will lose the value of that trade secret. So this is why I think it gives more like usefulness. I mean, I know that if some companies would like to keep their innovation as secret, I think trade secrets are the right tools for that. And the most important thing for me is that patents have this expiration date, whereas trade secrets doesn't have. So as long as you manage to keep it as secret, you can exceed 20 years with trade secrets.
Okay, that's very good and very understandable. But you also looked into the tokenization of trade secrets.
Yeah.
So put out your case. Why should we tokenize trade secrets?
I mean, with blockchain, I think we aim more of speed and borderlessness of rights, right? So trade secrets are, I mean, they seem to be a compatible tool for that. So once we tokenize trade secrets, especially using blockchain technology, there are some advantages in that. First of all, this will match our desire of speed. So as said, there is less bureaucracy, so we can actually transfer trade secrets directly and instantly. And secondly, with the blockchain technology, we can actually do a timestamp on blockchain.
Yeah.
And this would also be valid according to the, for example, ADAS regulation, that the timestamping, when you do this timestamp, I mean, when you register the trade secrets on the blockchain, then you will be able to prove that that trade secret also belongs to you.
That's a very good point. I mean, even if you look at the trade secrets law in Germany, which demands from you to take measures to protect your trade secrets, then especially I love it that you mentioned the ADAS law, because that could actually be a pretty good use case to use the timestamp to prove that you identified your trade secret and that you wanted to do something to protect it.
Yes, and there is another thing about trade secrets, is that which is called a black box dilemma. So the trade secret owner doesn't want to reveal the secret when the owner wants to transfer the secret to another party, but then the other party doesn't want to buy something which is not worthy of buying. So this dilemma is called black box dilemma, and I think it's still valid in the blockchain in the blockchain space as well, because even though you have this timestamp of trade secrets on the blockchain, and even though you can prove that that particular trade secret belongs to you, there's still you cannot still much reveal of the content of the trade secret. So there's, I think, still some extra measurements which needs to be taken when you transfer or when you license your trade secrets on the blockchain. And the solution for that in the traditional world is a secrecy agreement, which is also called NDA.
Yeah, of course. And I know that always it's the same, even in the world without blockchain, that you buy a trade secret that you don't know the content of or don't know how much it's really worth. And
yeah,
I mean, so it's always like in Germany, you buy the cat in the sack, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so how would you how you just mentioned it? So you mean that this next to the token transfer, you need you need an agreement still, right?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it would be legally more secure, I would say.
Absolutely. But do you think that then we would probably need a platform provider, like a middleman in this, or how would you assume? I know it's just an assumption. How would you assume this in the practical world to work?
I mean, it depends on what kind of platform you're providing, what kind of interface that user is going to see. But at least I know that there is one startup which is dealing with trade secret and timestamping on a blockchain, but they're using Bitcoin blockchain. So if you'd like to check it out, it's called Bernstein.
Okay, thanks.
It's from Munich, and they are using Bitcoin blockchain to make a timestamping asset on the blockchain, which can be like then once you it's actually a web application, and once you upload your documents into that, then you get a blockchain certificate having this hash with the timestamping, etc. And then within the ADAS, you can always use this certificate to prove that at least the timestamping.
And they do that with the Bitcoin blockchain because Bitcoin is very valuable. So there's a lot of trust in a transfer or in a Bitcoin transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain, because it will cost quite some money to put it on the Bitcoin blockchain, right?
They used it because I'm told that they thought about this project before Ethereum launch. So at that time there was only Bitcoin blockchain, and
okay.
Yeah, and secondly, there is this confusion on Ethereum that the Ethereum hard fork was going to happen, but it was delayed, and then they postponed it again and again. Now it's into force now. So the owner of the project, the Bernstein, they couldn't really trust Ethereum upgrades, and they thought that it's a bit uncertain. So this is why they they're still using Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I was just thinking about that because I talked to someone from a blockchain community. I'm not going to mention his name here, who told me that he believes that Bitcoin would be one day $1 million worth, because people would use it to timestamp documents and like IP rights, like just timestamp stuff on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain, and use the Bitcoin blockchain with a very expensive transaction as some sort of like what a notary would do in Germany. You put only very valuable things, very valuable transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. And he was like so persuaded to me that Bitcoin therefore would be like $1 million worth someday. That just stuck with me. And to everyone listening, that's not financial advice.
Yeah. That I've now seen more and more projects on Bitcoin blockchain as well, like Lightning Network, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that when I was writing my thesis about it, about smart contracts, I was thinking that Ethereum is the most valuable one, but Now I see that there are also other projects going on the Bitcoin blockchain. I mean, of course, we are seeing more dApps like decentralized applications and other platforms on Ethereum because Ethereum is programmable. But I don't think that we shouldn't underestimate the power of Bitcoin blockchain.
Absolutely agree on that point. So thank you very much for these insights. And for everyone who would like to go deeper into that, please check out Esen's articles on Medium. Mm-hmm. But so what's next for you? What are you looking into now?
I'm looking into more now, like I'm trying to learn more and educate myself more about blockchain, also from legal side and technical side. So I'm now, for example, following a course on computer science. so
cool. Where are you doing that?
I'm doing it on edX.org. There is a course which is provided by Harvard University. It's called CS 50 or something like that, but it's a very famous course, and I'm now following it.
Wow! So you're learning more and more, and so what's your aim in the end? What's your aim in the end? Where do you see yourself in, I don't know, 3 years?
This is an difficult question because I don't know how blockchain technology will be in 3 years either. So, but I think I will go I know that I like blockchain law and blockchain technology as technology. So I will keep learning about it. But now it's pretty hard for me to say that I will be like this in 3 years' time. But
all good.
I'm sure that I will keep learning and I will keep providing value to the community.
Yeah, I mean that's very true. We all don't know what's going to happen like in 1 year or so. So I think that's totally fine. Mm-hmm. So if everyone like listening to this and just says, hey, this young fine woman has a lot of ideas and has a lot of knowledge, especially about IP rights, and I really want to get in touch with her, how can someone do that? I'm
on Twitter and also on LinkedIn. So maybe we can put also the links of my profile under the podcast.
Absolutely, we'll absolutely do that.
Because it might be difficult for people to understand the links by just listening.
Totally. We will absolutely do that.
And they can also blog on medium.com.
Yeah, you absolutely, everyone listening to this should do that. So one last thing, it's something that I actually copied from Michelle Singh from Laptop Radio, which we also met on the 26th of November in Berlin. Great person.
We couldn't actually meet her, right?
Again?
We couldn't actually meet her.
No, Michelle Singh was there. Michelle Fink couldn't come.
Oh,
it's
okay.
like a quite similar name, but Michelle Michelle Singh was the lawyer who spoke on California law.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She's doing the podcast Laptop Radio at Stanford University. It's really good podcast. I could just empathize it to everyone to listen into that too. And at the end of every podcast, she asks her guests, like, what would you like to tell people? It doesn't need to be about blockchain. It can be any advice from your life, anything you just want to share and tell it out to people. Do you have anything you want to share? That's a big question, I know.
That's a very big question, that's right. I think, I wish every industry would be like blockchain ecosystem, from which we could have this sense of community and do things for each other and, care about each other.
Well, I think that's a very, very good wish, and we all should take it with you. Thank you so much for being on the show, and perhaps in 1 year we'll chat up again and see what came out of all of this in your studies and your interest for blockchain. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds a great idea. Also, hopefully one of my articles will be published this month in Legal Business World e-magazine.
Cool.
It is about legal engineering on the blockchain. So I'm talking about how we can introduce legal perspective when designing blockchain systems and mechanisms.
Wow, that would be awesome. I'm probably you will link it up on LinkedIn, right? So I'll see it.
As soon as it's out, I will put it on LinkedIn.
Awesome, that's cool. That reminds me, I can just share it now. One of my articles in German will be published this month too in Computer and Recht, Computers and Law in German in the December edition, and it will be about Bitcoin and cryptos as property in regards of our constitutional law. Does our constitution protect Bitcoin and crypto owners? So that's what I published this month. But
it's not really interesting.
Yeah, it's deep into German constitutional law. You know, I love talking about blockchain and constitutional law. So I hit that subject up again, and it's probably not as useful as your article that we're looking forward to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time, Esen. Please, everyone, reach out to her and connect with her and stay in touch with her. I think this young woman has a bright future in front of her in blockchain technology and law. So thanks again for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me again.
If you want to learn more about Dennis, please visit his website, theblockchain.lawyer, or connect with him on LinkedIn or Twitter. Until next time, everyone.